So for a while now, I've talked about the new consoles and the specs they'll achieve, and how the Xbox Series X will carry the tradition of Xbox having the most powerful console on the market. I've even gone into multiple rumors about the new studios or huge AAA games coming to each console. All of these are huge factors when it comes to a console and how it performs at the beginning of a generation, and how it carries itself throughout the generation. And while games, power, subscription services, platform, and all the things that make a platform what it is, there's still one huge thing that truly can help or destroy a console's launch, and that's the price the console comes out with. Because if you look at the Xbox One launch versus the PlayStation 4 launch, you can see decidedly the price helped Sony dominate the generation, along with the power and later on, the games. So this upcoming generation, you can tell that Microsoft and Xbox have learned from their mistakes and are willing to do what needs to be done when it comes to the Xbox Series X. And I want to talk about this because Phil Spencer in his IGN interview did talk about the price, and it would seem he's convinced some of the people at IGN that the price might be more competitive than we thought. So let's dive into what was said and also see what the people inside the industry are saying, because this really did surprise me, and it's starting to look like Xbox is coming this next generation ready to compete with the PlayStation 5. But before we get into the interview, like always, if you liked the video, hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support is greatly appreciated. Okay, so enough of that. Let's get into this interview and also the analysis by some of the people that are inside the gaming industry. Because like I said before, one of the most important things about a console launch is the price. So when you have Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, talking about the price of the Xbox Series X, you tend to listen. And what he says does turn some heads. So let's start off with what Phil Spencer says and then move on to what some of the people at IGN took from the interview. Here's what the article starts off by saying. Offering his thoughts on how the Xbox Series X is stacking up during an IGN interview, Spencer explained that while console design, specs, services, and games all have a role in winning over consumers, price will be a critical factor at launch. Here's what Phil Spencer had to say. Price will be important as well. In the end, if you look at it, price is usually a critical factor. I think if we look back at this generation at the beginning, I don't think the difference was the games, he said. Wait, did Phil Spencer just say that the games weren't the difference at the beginning of the generation? That's right, you heard him correct. Now, I know most people will run to Twitter and start blasting Phil for saying something like this, but to be honest with you, he isn't wrong, because at the beginning of a generation, the most important factor is power and price. Those two critical aspects of a console are their selling points. What will I be getting for the money I'm dropping on these consoles? Will I be getting something that's future-proof, and will I be able to afford it? Those are the main questions people ask when they buy a new console. Now, of course, as time goes on and the years progress, we start to look at the games coming to the console, because those are the main attractions. And those first-party exclusive games are something Xbox has to work very hard at these next couple of years. We know they have the hardware with the Xbox Series X. Let's hope they take advantage of it and give us truly new experiences that we've never seen before. But that doesn't hide the fact that at the beginning of the generation, it's all about price and power. And Phil Spencer tends to agree with that notion when he says this. If you look at the first couple of years of the Xbox One and PS4, I don't think that was the clear difference between the two platforms. At the beginning, I don't think that was the real difference. So I think that price will be important. Phil believes that the difference in the first couple of years of the Xbox One and the PS4 weren't the games. And I agree, because I felt that Xbox had the better exclusive games. That's my opinion, because I liked the games they had at launch for the first 2 years of launch. I liked Rise Son of Rome, I liked Titanfall, but what they didn't have on their side was the power and price. That's what I think is critical, and what I think Phil is talking about when he says these are the critical aspects of a launch. Because he knows how important it is to have the power narrative and to also have the price point in your corner. He witnessed how it snowballed for Sony all generation and how it provided them a leg up in every single aspect. They were able to provide the best looking third-party games for years and also provide their fans an affordable, more powerful console. It was almost a layup for them. So while this all seems like common sense, it's still something we all have to acknowledge. And the article points that out when it says this. While it might seem obvious to call out pricing as a sticking point, it's interesting to hear Spencer suggest that the Xbox One lost ground on the PlayStation 4 at launch because of the $100 gap between the pair, with each console costing $499 and $399 respectively. Now, this right here is the most telling thing for me, because it does sound like Phil Spencer wants to compete in every single aspect of the console, not just power and games, but also price. And I know for a long time people have said that the Xbox Series X will come in at $499 and the PS5 will be at $399. Or some have suggested the Xbox Series X will be $599 and the PS5 will be $499. No matter what numbers you have, the consensus was that Xbox will come in at $100 more than Sony, like they did last generation. But this time they'll have the power narrative on their side and the product they put out will be far more powerful, which will warrant the higher price. Now for most people that's fine because they want the best performing games and the best performing third-party games. So that $100 price difference won't be that big of a deal. But after hearing Phil Spencer talk, it would seem that he would be going all out and that Microsoft will come out this next generation aiming to win. And I'm not saying this because this is what I think will happen. I'm saying this because Ryan McCaffrey, who's the main host on IGN's Xbox Unlocked podcast, said he's starting to think it's what's going to happen. He explained this in his Unlocked podcast a week after interviewing Phil Spencer. He explains how Phil Spencer emphasized that Xbox has the backing of the higher-ups from Microsoft, all the way up to Satya Nadella, who's the main guy at all of Microsoft. With this support, Ryan thinks that Microsoft is coming to this next generation to price match or even come lower than the PS5. Now I know, that seems crazy and it's probably not going to happen, but Ryan does make a pretty strong case and he admits he was one of the people that was 100% convinced that the Xbox Series X will come in at $599 and be more expensive than Sony's console. But after talking to Phil Spencer in the interview, he said he feels Phil is very confident and that he brings up the last generation struggles as a way of understanding what customers want. And I have to agree because I think matching Sony's price and also being far more powerful will drastically make a dent in the gaming market. If you want to actually change things up, you have to make drastic changes to the way you do things. And from what we've seen of Xbox, they seem to be ready to make a lot of changes. In fact, they've made huge changes already by buying multiple studios, investing a lot of money in games, and also changing the way they talk about their new console. Xbox has never revealed their consoles like they did with the Xbox Series X. They've never talked about multiple new games and saying they won't have a show where they won't announce a new game. It's almost impossible for you to not see the changing of the guard in Xbox itself as a whole entire brand. So with all of this changing and backing of the CEO at Microsoft, why is it out of the question for Xbox to launch the Xbox Series X at a very, and I mean very competitive price point? Now, I never really thought about this until I listened to Ryan bring it up and mention it in his podcast, because I know it's hard to put your neck out there and say something like that, and for Ryan to mention it does make me and everyone else raise the question about that price point, especially since Ryan does have his ear to the ground and is a very respected person around the industry. For him to have that feeling does make me think there might be some sort of truth to it. Will it be as extreme as coming in at a lower price to Sony? Maybe not, but it does make me think that the price reveal of these consoles might surprise the gaming industry. And it also explains why Sony has been so quiet as of late, because maybe they're anticipating Xbox is trying to undercut them or even match their price. And it could be a reason why Xbox hasn't talked about price at all. It would seem that both companies are in this stare down and one is waiting for the other to blink. And I'll be honest, this brings nothing but a smile to my face because I want to see two huge companies compete with each other to get my dollar. It's nothing but great news and competition for us, the gamers. So let's hope Sony and Xbox can bring us the most powerful consoles we've ever seen at a very affordable price. The only difference I see is Xbox has the services with Xbox Game Pass, xCloud, and certain things to fall back on. Sony still needs to build those, which they are, and I think they're going to gradually build those and make their library that much more stronger online as the generation progresses. So again, this next generation is looking crazy competitive, and I can't wait to see the price points of these consoles. But enough about what I think. Tell me what you think about all of this. Do you think Xbox will price match the PlayStation 5? Will Xbox come in at a lower price than Sony? Will Sony try to keep the price crown since they don't have the power crown anymore? Does price matter to you? What's the most you will spend on a gaming console? What do you think is the right price for the power we're going to get in these consoles? Go down below and let me know. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support helps out the channel more than you know. And give me a follow on Twitter at Zalker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my latest videos. Plus, I love interacting with everyone there. So get on Twitter and let's talk about gaming, people. Also, follow me on Xbox Live. My gamer tag is Zalker87, just like my channel name. See what games I'm playing, and let's compete in achievements for the month. I just beat Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered on Veteran. That was freaking difficult, but I got that done. And now I'm working on Assassin's Creed 2 on the Ezio collection. I'm really enjoying the game. It's actually kind of fun to go back and see what games we played in the 360 era. The game, you could tell, is dated, but it's still a lot of fun. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.